Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity to practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, now so welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. It's Constant Brooks. This episode is going to talk about a more healthy regime. You know, as this episode not going to really go into telling you what to do to remain healthy and such like that because that's not my really profession and such like that. I know and I can assume certain stuff that is keeping me sort of healthy, but I can't really tell it for you. But one of the things you realize on the journey is that okay, maybe this could be one of the many situations that could be in. So maybe you could born in maybe a privileged family that can allow that grow up with a healthy lifestyle. So you'll grow up healthy, strong, and whatnot. You know, you could kind of be poor and grow up poor, but when you're young, your body is more stronger to deal with disease and such like that. So your body is more healthier and stuff like that. But when you're older and you say, okay, I want to try to get out of poverty and such like that, you're going to have to in there's choices you have to make about your health and such like that. And also that's the next situation. Other situation would be disability or such like that. You're born not really the healthiest as you can be. And I guess there's maybe in that case maybe there's a chance for you to become healthy and such like that, but they need to really reach up to that level, income level or stable level to really reach that. These are just assumptions. I'm not really, I don't really know, but the topic is basically showing that getting rich and wealthy is good and all, but the real wealth is health. You need all the other stuff but if you're not healthy, you can't really enjoy all the other stuff you're going to get. Stuff like that. So on this journey, you're going to basically be saying, okay, I have to sacrifice. Most of the wealthiest, like when I usually watch some videos on some billionaires and such like that. Before I started this journey, I had no idea how I'm going to start my life. I was watching all these billionaires. I wonder how did they did, and they usually say something like in their 20s and such like that. They usually eat ramen and whatnot, ramen and top food and basic stuff. Usually sleep on the floor, bathe some place, so what happened was that in their 20s their body could tolerate those unhealthy lifestyle. They would just drink energy drink every day and such like that. So their body could tolerate the rigorous lifestyle that starting a company that would take and it and the unhealthy lifestyle that they would have to tolerate because they would have to eat cheaper unhealthy food and to eat to more likely the healthier food are more expensive and such like that. So when you're starting a business or anything like that, or if you're basically poor or not, more likely you're going to go for the cheaper products, and the cheaper products are usually more less nutritious and I guess it's due to the cheaper products are more manufactured and take out all the more important stuff so that you could basically make a lot of it over time instead of so so in the start wherever journey you're at, if you're saying okay, boom, you're you're graduating or whatnot, I say okay, I'm going to start my business and so that you're going to disrupt on your family. Because let's go back to one of the scenarios now. So you're born in a privileged family that eats a healthy lifestyle and such like that. Then you grow up and it's okay, I want to do something, I want to start a business and whatnot. But your family said, okay, if you go to this route, this route, I have a set layout for you, but if you go this route and you're on your own, you have to really start figuring out stuff for yourself. When I choose that road, now I say, okay, boom, your health will become your responsibility now. And that's one of the greatest thing, because when you decide to go on this journey on your own, your health is all on you. You, when you're down, if you convince your family to say, okay, yes, to help you on this journey and such like that, they can assist you, but it's the more every time you get caught up in a disease or unhealthy stuff like that, that will cost you a lot of money to basically recover yourself or may cost you your life. So that's essentially the idea I'm trying to give you on this. Is that your health is the main one of the main thing you can you will need to, where most of the billionaires know that, when I started. So in their 20s, they really didn't really care much about their health and such like that, as they were focused mostly on just starting the business and getting it up. And now in their 30s and 40s, you do see most of them actually more focused more on their health now, because in their older years they want to extend their life, have a more quality of life and such like that. So you see them do more gym work, eating more healthier, because one thing is, because it's healthier, the food are more healthier, and then not only that, in their 20s they worked so they could afford that healthy lifestyle. And most of these billionaires, started off poor and such like that. So so they have to sacrifice their 20s to really going to their 30s richer. So they have to sacrifice a lot of stuff like that. But you will listen to this now. You can start planting the seeds to know what the healthy lifestyle look for you. So, for example, what you listening to this now, you can start to look into what is the healthy lifestyle and what is ideal, the right thing to be eating and such like that, weight, or to keep myself fit and whatnot. And then what happen is you will get an idea, like a price of the different groceries you need to do, the type of food you need to get, and it's not a really set food. It's not really a set food. But what happens is that you get an idea of the prices of the various items that will not give you the various nutrients and such like that. And what will happen if you start from early, you'll get an idea of say, okay, yeah, this is the amount of money it will take. And when you're starting, you will not have that money. But what happened is that you know that, okay, on this journey out of poverty or starting my business and whatnot, this is over time, this is what I'm working towards to get my health up. Because in the beginning I was sacrifice my health, but in the future I really want to regain back my health and such like that. Certain things you realize on this journey that, like for example, where I'm at now, most of these fruits and so that I could plant them where I'm at now, being an unofficial homeowner and such like that, I could have plant the seeds and reap them, and or I could basically go to the market and buy it. So certain things like that, you realize that the the healthy lifestyle is there for you to start, but it's you have to, when you're starting the journey, you have to plant this. You Two things. You have to be, yeah. One thing I'm grateful for, that I was privileged that I was born healthy and I grew fairly healthy. That's the first thing. Most people in my won't be in that position, but if you're in that position, be glad, because you're better than most. For the other person, your journey will be more to try to get you to get healthy and get into the better quality of life. So most of your journey, the reason why you do things is try to say, okay, I want to get this disease up, or get this quality of life. So Yeah, so the point of the episode is trying to say that in the start of your journey, your health will be something will it will be fluctuating because on this journey I became obese. I weighed like 145 pounds. That was like the most I weighed in a long in my life, 145 pounds. And then on this journey, all of a sudden I became over 230 pounds. So you know that okay, yeah, on this journey your health will be all over the place. But the you will listen to that episode. The privilege that I can tell you is that if you know what, if you go, maybe go to the doctor and get a medical checkup and said, okay, what is ideally should I be doing to keep my body healthy, or what is the best healthy standard for me, and such like that, then you can have the idea to say, okay, yeah, this is what I need to keep healthy. And then while you're on this journey, if your body start deviating from that, now you can say, okay, I can tolerate this and that. But over time, I have to really get myself back to that because you don't want to really be risking your health trying to start something. And then when you're basically, when the dreams come true, you're not even healthy enough to actually enjoy it. So you have to really know. So the main thing I'm trying, you have to really know what keeps you healthy, what you really need to keep fit, and so that you're able to enjoy this life. And then once you have that down, that's one of your side goals. Now, would when so your side, so one of your main goals would be say, okay, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this degree and whatnot. One of your side goal is basically, yes, to be able to afford this lifestyle, this healthy regime. Because if you can afford that healthy lifestyle, then you can start to tolerate the bad lifestyle. So, like for example, drinking and such like that, you'll be able to drink maybe one or two drink alcohol and be like, okay, I can tolerate this. Because you keep your body healthy. You know, when I was younger, if you listen to some of my early episodes, you hear me drinking a lot of alcohol when I was in university. And the thing was that my family, when I was starting, we're not really rich and so that, but my family eat healthily, healthily. Yeah, we eat ground provision and such like that. And that made my body healthy. So that wild lifestyle that I had in university, my body could tolerate it because my family at the start, my family, most of my family started from farming. So we usually eat ground provision and such like that. So that start get my body healthy. So when I was on the university, I'm basically living that wild alcohol drinking lifestyle that, and I never really understood how much toll it would take on my body because of my family initial investment into that early healthy lifestyle. I could tolerate that. And when I left university, I could say, okay, yeah, my body is still healthy. And yeah. But when I left university and I said, okay, I'm going to stop that lifestyle, like it's like addiction. It really is hard to stop that addiction. But what happens now in the university, drinking is one, but in the real world now, you're getting older and drinking too much alcohol, it can damage your kidney and whatnot, all those stuff. So the reason why I'm talking about the health regime is that you need the when you left university now, the earlier you start investing into this health regime, for example, you start doing things like farming and such like that, the better able you can start to live a healthy lifestyle and maybe go tolerate the bad influence lifestyle that the world will be pushing you towards over and over. And you could tolerate that because you have kept your body healthy enough so that you could tolerate the unhealthy lifestyle. Because what I know is that the body is able to tolerate drinking alcohol and such like that. The body is made to tolerate that. But what happens that when you drink too much, that's where it's and smoking. I guess the body was not made for smoking. It wasn't really. Yeah, I guess I could be wrong on that, but there's no really benefits on smoking, in my opinion. I guess if you get, people say you get high and such like that, but not for me. But what I learned is that the body is not really able to tolerate, not really made to tolerate alcohol. But what happens that the body can do it, but if you do it too much, then your kidney and I think liver starts to break down, and that's where the problem goes, and then they end up with kidney failure, all those stuff, and that's because you invested too much in a unhealthy lifestyle than a more healthy lifestyle, and then boom, your older years is basically spent trying to patch your way through through life, so yeah, so that's basically the essence of this episode. Really kind of get you the reality that on this journey, on your journey, whatever you say you're going to do. Because if you listen to this podcast, maybe you're trying to go somewhere, and everything you do is a risk. You have to sacrifice something to get something. And some of the time you said, okay, I have to sacrifice eating certain things, eat certain thing, something else, so that I can reach somewhere else. So you say, okay, I have to eat cheaper food so that I'm able to have the money to invest into this business to do that. And if cheaper food may be unhealthy. But over time, as your business starts to get successful, you have to really go back to eating a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. And ideally, what my message would be is that an ideal world is that the healthy lifestyle will be there for you regardless if you need to start a business or what. But so you regardless, so the ideal thing is that what I'm working towards is that I have the healthy lifestyle and I don't really have to think about it in that, it's there. I have the fruits and stuff like that. Then I have the money to go and invest into my business or whatever I need to be. But because I have that, I this first thing I did before I started was invested in that healthy lifestyle. The bad lifestyle, I can tolerate it because I invested early in the healthy lifestyle. Yeah, so in this episode, I guess when I started the episode, I kind of really lost the point I was trying to make. But not throughout and throughout, the point was there and such like that. And maybe overall, you get the point. Is that the important point I'm trying to get is that your main wealth is health. All the other things comes after. But you need other things to really kind of enjoy the quality of life. But if you get those stuff and you're not healthy, you're really not going to really enjoy life. So, you know, this episode is trying to really give you kind of reestablish your priorities in a sense, so that you don't really get confused on this journey that you know while you say you want to do one thing but forget that the main thing is your health is one of your greatest wealth. Yeah, so that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for our next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
Going to be learn the risk and then attempt, because and then on this when you're trying to do something like when you want Like sometimes you're doing something and you see the vision of how you want to do something to be done. And there are other people that specialize in this stuff now that can get it done. But when they do it, based on experience, their experience, they do it a certain way, and it doesn't really come to where you want to do it. It doesn't really come to how you want it to be done. But while it's done and all, you want it to be done the way that you kind of see it, just to see if it actually would be the way you vision it and such like that. But you do have the skills. So what you would have to do